Hello and welcome to this beautiful and awesome lessons. Guys, on our previous lessons, we were able to set up our code block, which is our test editor, and we were able to do all the necessary configuration. So on this episode, what we're going to do is that we first going to set our folder structure and understand how the compiler runs our code in C++, and also to write our very first code in C++. All right, there is a perception that C and C++ programming language is difficult to learn and all that. Trust me, guys, whilst you are learning with me, everything is going to be simple as possible. I will take my time to eliminate all the new stuff like I explained before. So if you're ready, let's dive in. All right, so in this interface that we are looking right now, we can see that there are many options here. We can open your existing project from here and we can continue your project that you were working on it previously. And also, if you need some tips for the day, it is here. And you can also visit the website and also report a failure or an error. Also, ever be the case, and the release version of Mac that I'm using as at now is here. So what we are going to do currently is that we are going to create a new project. Okay, so we'll click on this one. You can see create a new project, click on it, and you can see this pop up here. Okay, so with C++, we can build many projects by going through all this. Okay, so from the beginning session we are going to use the console application. All right, what then is the console application? Console application, it makes you run your code. Okay, not using the GUI, which is the graphical user interface. That one is different. Okay, so the console application simply means that everything is going to be run on the console. Okay, so we are not going to use any graphical interface. All right, so that is that, and it is best for the beginning. All right, so what you can do is that you can click on it here. If you are finding it difficult to search it, also you can come to this portion and come to console, and you can see that we have your console application. All these things also are here. All right, so now you click on your console application, then you click on go. Now just follow the proceedings, very simple. Leave everything by default, go to next. With code block, you can write your C code or you can write your C++ code. All right, but there's not much difference between the C and C++, okay? But there are major difference when it comes to the syntax issues and some functionalities, okay? So what we are learning is not C, okay? We are learning C++, okay? So we will select C++, then you go to next. All right, so here is where you are going to give your folder or your project a name, okay? So however you want to call it, you can name it. But for a Windows user, okay, we that we are using code block, please, I would advise you that the name that you be giving to your project, don't give space, okay, don't leave space. All right, so I'll call it dating C++. Anyway, why am I calling it dating C++? It is our very first encounter with C++. That's why I'm calling it dating C++. All right, or if you like, you can use the Kame casing. This is the Kame casing, dating C++, something like this. You're able to go, but please don't leave space. Okay, you might be encountering some error in your project especially when you are using the code block. Okay, when you are using some different test editor like S code, which I'll be introduced very soon. That one you are able to go because that one the compilers understand it better. Anyway, let's move on. So you can see that after getting your name, dating or dating C++, whatsoever that you want to call it, then the next thing to do is from the beginning, let's make it dating. But you know that we are dating C++. It's our very first encounter. All right. So what we do, we can name it anyhow. We can name it intro, whatsoever be the case, or demo. All right. Now you go to next, and from here leave everything by default. But make sure that this one is selected, and also this one also is selected, and also this place. What has been selected here is the GUN GCC compiler. Okay, very important. All right, so it is tantamount to leaving everything by default. Then you click on finish. All right, so now we have this interface now. All right, so this is the default interface that you'll be getting. Some people must get some complaint about some issues. So let me explain a few things here, and we are good to go. Okay, so when you come to view, okay, you come to view here, you can see that these three things have been marked. Okay, sometimes you might be setting your project, but you might not get this taskbar here, the manager. So this is the manager. So when I untick this one, you can see that this one is gone. Okay, and when I also untick the log, you can see the log also is gone. So we have a plain space here. Sometimes you might be setting up your project and you get a space like this, like you'll be confused as a beginner. So whenever you have this issue, just come here and make sure that the manager is ticked and also the logged also is ticked. Okay. Now before we start on with whatever we want to do, let me also explain this one also to you. I'll come to start the page. Okay, I'm going to restart the whole processing again. I just want to show you something. So we selected on the console application and we came to next and we selected our C++ programming language, and here we gave it dating. Okay, dating C++. I did not explain this portion. Okay, that's why I've come back to explain. This is where you save your project. Okay, your C++ project that you are building, this is where you save it. Okay, so you can leave it by default, or you can choose to select a portion or a place that you wish to save it. Maybe on your desktop, you can create a folder and save it in your desktop, or however and wherever you want to save it. That one is over to you. All right. So this is the concept that I wanted to explain. Now let me cancel it because we have set it up already and we are ready to go. All right, so on this interface, what we do is that we can see that the name that we use to save our project is here. Okay, dating. So we click on it. All right, so on this interface, other than management here. Okay, so in your case, you might be having maybe a series of files here. It could be files or resources or whatsoever. Be mindful to select the projects. Okay, something like this. Okay, so under the project, we have the resources. Okay, so the name that we use to save our project is here. Okay, which is the dating. So we will click this arrow pointing down. Okay, so we click on it like this. So we have the source here. So inside the source, we have main.cpp. Okay, main.cpp. What you have to do is that you double click on it. Now, this is what we have. All right, this is the default code that we are having on our screen. So now, like I said, we are going to do three things here. We are first going to create our folder structure, which we have done it. Okay, that is here. So the second thing that we have to do is to understand how C++ compiler runs our code. Okay, so by default, every C++ project that you are running, the compiler always run your code from the top. Okay, so this is from the top to the down. Okay, so the compiler does not run your code from maybe line second or whatsoever. It's always begin running your code from the top to bottom. All right, so take note of that and don't forget. All right, very, very important. So it doesn't matter the code that you'll be running here. It doesn't matter the code that you'll be running on the various spaces. It doesn't really matter. Anything that you'll be running here doesn't really matter. What matters is that the compiler is going to read it from the top before it comes to the bottom. Okay. All right, take notes. All right, so now let's understand the default code that C++ is giving to us. Okay, so now we have the hash include and the iOS string. Okay, so what is this hash include and iOS string that C++ is giving to us by default? All right, so as a layman point of view, just understand it to be a library. Okay, so what are library meant for? Library meant for the places where the books have been piled up, that you can go there and read about any book that you want to read. Okay, just consider it like that. In the same scenario, hash include is a function. Okay, it's a function. And in this function, all right, so anytime that you want to use a library in C++, what you have to do is that you use the word hash include. Okay, now, when you use the word hash include, there are over thousands of library in C++ language. Okay, so when we use the hash include, then it's like, what kind of library do you want to refer to? Then we said iOS string. Okay, so it's simple as that. It's not only iOS stream is not the only library that is in C++, but they are, like I said, like there are thousands of them. But the hash include means that we want to use the library, but which type of library? Then we said iOS stream. As simple as that. Like now, let's say in Code Africa, okay, we have many students. We have a lot of students in Code Africa. So we said a student from Code Africa, but which of the students are you calling for? Then we said maybe Joseph Asante. Okay, so that is how it is. So it's like I'm studying programming. Oh, okay, wow. So which kind of language are you learning? Then say C++. A layman point of view, just understand it from this angle and let's move on. Now to our second line, which is the using namespace std. What does it actually means and what does it actually does? All right. Now I'm not going to use some terminologies to get you confused. Okay. So as simple as possible, this is how you have to understand it. Now, using the namespace std simply means that we have already declared this library here. So using the namespace std, it is telling the compiler that whenever you see any function coming from this library without hesitating, without wasting time, easily reorganize them. That is all. Okay. So it is telling the compiler to reorganize every function that will come from this library. That is that. Please get it like this and let's move on. All right. So now to the third line, okay, which is the fifth line of code, which is the int main. Okay, with the parentheses. Okay, so the int main, just consider it to be the body. Okay, when we are coding in HTML, you consider it to be the body. Okay, because that is where all your code will go. Okay, that is where you write all your code. All right. So the int main, it creates an environment for you to be able to write your C++ code. Okay, just consider it like that. Don't add many thought to it. Okay, as we are proceeding, you understand it better. So the int main, the int, then the main with the double parenthesis, then you open your curly braces. Okay, you open your curly braces. So inside that curly braces, that is where you actually do your coding. Okay, so that is that. All right, so now back to the code that we have in line 7, which is inside our main environment or inside the body of the code. All right, so now we can see that we have C out. Okay, so what is this C out? So this C out is a function. Okay, it is coming from this iOS stream library. Okay, so whilst we have stated here that using the namespace std, this function, because of this one here, it will quickly enter into the library and reorganize it without being hinged. Okay, like I said, it's a function. Okay, so what it does is that if you are a Python programmer, you use prints. Okay, it's like you are doing prints, then your parentheses, then you put in hello world. If you are a JavaScript programmer, you use console.log or document.write. Okay, then you log it to the screen or you print it to the browser. So it's the same thing. So in C++, we are using what? C out. Okay, C out. So C out means what? Bring whatever is here to the screen. Okay, so whatever is here, which is the hello world, we are bringing it to the screen. We are bringing it to the console. We are seeing it out. Okay, so as simple as that. Then what next is what? The hello world. The hello world. Okay, so it comes by the double less than symbol. Okay, it's double. If you make it single, it's not work. It's double. Okay, that is the default. And the next thing is that you write your code here. You write your test. Whatever you want to show to the screen could be anything. Then we are saying hello world. Okay. Then the next thing here is what? Another double less than sign. Then we come to the end line. This one, what is the function? This one too is the function. Okay. And also it is calling from the um, iOS stream library. Okay, so what this function also does is that it ends the code with the line. Okay, what I'm trying to mean is that if you print this one to the screen, and let's say we are writing a multiples of code here. So we have hello world, hello world, hello world. Okay, so we have, okay, let's move on like that. So we have hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world. Now, when we print this one to the screen, we are going to see it appearing what? How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4. But in a case that we do not bring the end line, it is going to merge them together without breaking it. Okay, so in HTML, this one works as the break. Okay, the BL tag. Okay, the end line, it ends the line for you so that the next line of code will follow the next line. Okay, now we are going to run the program for you to see exactly what we are trying to mean. Okay, but before then, let me explain something here for you to understand. I'm not going to run the code inside code block. Okay, I'm going to run the code inside my S code. Okay, why S code? S code is for Mac users. Okay, if you're Windows user, you are good to go to use your code block. Okay, so with the S code, as a Mac user, it makes running my C++ code more easier. Like how you being a Windows user, it makes running your code in code block also become easier. It's the same thing. Okay, so you are good to go. You can use this one or you can use this one, but this one is for only Mac. Okay, if you are not a Mac user, you cannot use S code. Okay, so they are the same. The interfaces, everything is the same. You can see that your project name will be here. This one, I name it my first C++ program, and I leave space. In Xcode I can leave space, but please, you are using code block, don't leave space. That's why we make it only anything. We do not leave space or add anything. Okay, so take note of that. So as you can see, what we are having here before is exactly what we are having here. Now, to run your code in code block, you we have let's understand some things here. If you want to run the code, you can use the run. Okay, then we also have build. Okay, so you can build the code that's running. When you build the code, for instance, when I click on build, you can see that it has been run in the console here for us. Okay, in a case we are getting some error, we will see it here, but we are not running it. We can first build before you run it. So when you hit on run, we have built it already, so now we can run it. So when I hit and run, it's going to run it inside my terminal. In your case, it's going to run it inside your command prompts. Okay, all right, let me close it. Now, if you want to save yourself the trouble from building before running, if you are sure and you want to run it at a go, you can use this one. This one, it has what? Run, build and run. It's built and run at the same time. So this is what you'll be using the more. Okay, we build it and run it at the same time. So whenever you run it here, it is going to open your terminal window, okay, and show whatever that you are having here. Now, the reason why I'm going to run it, I'm going to run my code here is that there's some configuration that we need to do inside the Mac. We did it inside the Windows. We did not do it inside the Mac. The reason being is that I was just using this one for the demonstration because I've been using the S code rather instead of the code block, the more. But like I said, the functionalities, they are all the same. If you are a Windows user, you are good to go. Even if you are a Mac user, you are still good to go to use this one, because when I run the code, you see that it's opened it all right for us here. For that case, I'm going to run my code inside here. So in this environment, like I said before, it's just the same like this. But when I run it here, it's not going to run inside my terminal, but it's going to run it inside this project, like this one here. I'm going to see the results here at this section here. So let me run the code and show you. So I'll click on run. It's here. I'll run the code, and you can see we have hello world here. And the next thing is what the program end with exit code 0. Okay, so you can see that our code hello world, it runs successfully here for us. Okay, now let me explain what I was trying to mean with the end line. Okay, so for instance, here in this line of code, when I run it like that, let's say we have hello world, how many times? Let's say 3. It's okay. Now let's build it. Let's run it. So we can see that it has been printed how many times? 3 times. So something like this. Okay, so let's run it again. And there we go. We have our hello world printed out successfully for us. Okay. All right. So what if you want to run your code without using the end line? What actually is going to happen? So for instance, when you take the end line, we have to also take the double less than sign. Okay. So it will be something like this. What actually is going to happen? Now let me hide this one. Then let's run the code and see what's actually happened. And you can see hello world, like it lined them up on one line. You can see from the console here, you can see that it has lined all of them at the one line. Hello world, hello world, hello world, 3 times one line. So what the lineup does is that it breaks the line for you. Okay, it tells the compiler that this section has ended, so you can move on to the next one. So when you run it like this, you can see that it has break the line. So this is the end line. Okay, end line. So end the line and move on to the next line. That is what it actually means. So what if I want a double line? So if you want a double line, it's very simple. You give it double less than sign, then you do the end line again. Okay, like this. Then let's run it and see. And we can see that we have a space here. Okay, so if you want it more and more, we give it more end line and it will break it for you. Okay, you give it more and more and it will break it for you, just like that. And you can see that we have more space. So it is as simple as that. All right, so now let's move on to the last line, which is our line 12, saying what? Return 0. Okay, so now what is the return 0? And okay, so the return 0 means that this particular body or function, or this particular code that we are running, we are ending it all. Okay, for instance, all this one we are ending everything all here. It was very important when C++ was not well updated. Now that it has been updated to the point that even if you take it out, your code will still run successfully. Let's build and run. When you take it out, your code will still run successfully. As we can see, there's no error in the console. Okay, so we can choose to leave it or take it out. As a beginner, I'll urge you to always leave it. Okay, all right. So now the last thing I would like to talk about is this log. Okay, the log console that you are seeing here. Okay, so in this place, this is where you will see your errors and everything that pertains to the error that you are getting. For instance, if I take this one out and run the code, I build and run, definitely I must get some error. And okay, so the error is pointing me to this place. I really want to get the error inside the line, inside the console. Okay, so let me build and run. Now you can see that I'm getting some error in the console. Okay, so you can see unexpected expression. Okay, so whenever you build and run your code and you get an error, you get the report here. It is better for you to be more conscious about this place. When everything runs successfully without getting any red line, it means that your code has been built and run successfully. Okay, so that is that. Anyway, before we go, some of you might be having issues with your font. Okay, you can some of you might think that, oh, my font is too small or whatsoever be the case. So if you want to enlarge your font, just if you're a Mac user, just hold on Command key and scroll up. Okay, you can scroll up or down. Okay, so you can scroll up or down to get it big or smaller as you want it. Okay, all right. So guys, congratulations on your first Hello World. You've been able to write your first C++ project. Okay, congratulations. Keep on practicing and let's meet on the next one and learn more.